got another racism story, racism against me. I had this boyfriend years ago, and he said, well, it's before I married Lenny. It was the last one. But anyway, we weren't married yet, me and this guy. And he said, hey, man, we were looking for a church to get married, and we just felt kind of uncomfortable because we weren't going to church. And we were just like, I don't know. And we were really wanting to get back into it. We really wanted to, like, kind of like get our lives straight, and we just wanted a relationship with God. We were just trying to, like, get a little help, like a little direction. And he says, hey, I know this guy whose brother is a pastor of a church in Baltimore City. And I said, well, let's go, All right, so we go, and we weren't the only white people in there. There was one white person in there, and she was about 30-something and just kind of looked like a drug addict. Like everybody in this church, and it was all black except for her. They were dressed to the nines because they like to really, really dress up, and I mean, just beautiful. And I wanted to kind of keep it in the mid-range because I didn't want to feel like I had to dress up super nice, but I didn't want to dress like you see me on camera here usually. So I just kind of like, I did, just dressy, casual, neat, because I didn't want to like front, And so we were very, very well received by about maybe a little more than half of maybe 2/3 of the congregation. Well received as far as they were at least polite. They were polite and decent to our faces. Nobody tried to get a deep relationship with us really too much, but they all lived in the city, and we lived, like, it was like a half hour to get to our house, and I would go on Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday nights. I really liked it. I liked the pastor. He was a dynamic preacher. I mean, the guy was incredibly intelligent. His preaching was top-notch. He really broke the Bible down. It was really interesting. But at any rate, as time went on, I realized it was a lot about narcissism and all kind of crazy stuff. But in the meantime, I just wanted to talk about the racist experience that I had. After, like, about the third week, about the third Sunday that we went, we noticed, me and my husband, well, he wasn't my husband at the time, my fiancé, noticed a sharp decline in attendance. And the pastor spoke on it and said, he addressed it. He said, this is the house of God. And I have heard murmurings in the congregation, and I've seen departures and declining attendance because, but he didn't single us out, but I knew darn well he was talking about us, about this. Like, this church is not a black church. This is a church for God's people. And that's kind of how he put it. And I was just like, whoa, dude. But then, I kind of look around a little bit, and a few of the cool people looked and smiled genuinely at me. Wonderful people. Whew. There was one guy that was I think he was a principal of a high school. He helped me with my son when my husband wasn't there because he was at work or whatever. Not my husband, my fiance. Well, actually, we got married and went there for a while. But anyway, my son was small, and he was unruly. Not terrible, but he was a little bit autistic, so it was hard for him to sit a long time. And black church is long, but it's not black church, Karen. That's what Keith said. The pastor's name was Keith. I realized that, but there is a style to it. I mean, there's a culture to it when you bring it in. I mean, the singing was off the hook. It was wow. It was great, but I really enjoyed it. But we experienced that. The racism of about a third of the congregation left and never came back. And he was like, cool, didn't want them anyway. So the remaining people were either polite or they were very friendly. I had a couple of men that would help me with Sam when my husband wasn't there. And they were great. I always wondered what this guy Dennis said to Sam one time because he grabbed him. He just walked over in the middle of the service because Sam was fussing and the preacher was trying to preach. And he crossed the aisle, he picked him up off my lap and sat him next to him, and he leaned down and he whispered in his ear for about 10 seconds. And then Sam did not move the rest of the service. And I wondered what he said. Like, look, you little motherfucker, I'm going to take you out back. I'm going to whip the hide right off your ass if you don't sit down and be still. And I think that may be what he said, but he did it. But Sam would hang on these men's necks. He could feel that they genuinely loved him. But that approximately third of the congregation that left, I mean, they left because we were white. And they said, how dare they come down here and come to our church? They're invading our church. Look, I was trying to tap into and be blessed by what you've got going on here. I wasn't trying to take away, and then I was trying to be built up so that I could, in turn, bless you back. Do you get it? Some of them did. Thank you very much. My black folk, downtown Baltimore, thank you. But I wouldn't dream of going down there now. And that was 20 years ago. So I would be absolutely terrified because of the state of the streets. Is that racist of me to say that I'm terrified to walk in downtown Baltimore? Am I racist? According to them, yes. According to people that have a brain cell, no, that's being smart. Have a great rainy day. My day's rainy.